Hello. So I'm going to start my new channel. Well, it's not a new channel, but it's a continuation of the old channel, as I would put it. And I have a couple ideas on what I'd like to talk about. This is going to be a series that I feel like I need to express. So, this is going to be about water. Yes, water. For you tarot buffs out there, that would be a Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer. Definitely want to go ahead and give you guys a tarot card read right up front, and then we will carry on from there. I had the Rider Waite Tarot deck selected for today, so I'm going to just go ahead and shuffle a little bit and see what comes out. Okay, yeah, these cards are just flying out, so I'm going to go ahead and take three. We're going to go ahead and get clarifiers on those three. Okay. So there is there's the Eight of Cups in reverse. So somebody is not going to walk away from something, particularly a father figure or somebody of authority, somebody who may have a very significant role in society, and that person is going to defend their position. I don't know why I'm just seeing like castle walls, like draw the bridges, like I don't know. Maybe there's somebody trying to stop some type of a invasion that you could be feeling in your life. That's what I'm getting from these right now for some reason. Definitely, I think also this could say like this is a Aries. Typically, the Emperor is an Aries or a fire sign of some type. So Leo, Aries, or Sagittarius, and they're gonna try to defend their ground. So somebody's not gonna just give up without a fight, is what I'm seeing here. That's interesting, given what I was about to kind of share with you guys about water. Now, I do want to go ahead and let you know I'm not going to pull up specific videos because it's actually against YouTube's policy, apparently, to play videos or music or blah, blah, blah while you're making a video. But I will let you know the origins of water is what I want to talk about today, and kind of the way water operates on the earth as well as its function in our lives as humans, and then also consider the animals. So, the Dr. Emoto's water experiment is a really interesting place to start, and I think I've spoken about this before. If you have not seen the video, I would definitely suggest that you go ahead and take a peek. It's called Dr. Emoto, Emoto, water experiment. And what happens is that he takes specific jars of water, he names them or speaks to them in different ways. So let's just give three examples since we've got three cards here. There may be one that could say love, I don't care, and I hate you. Okay. The one that says love, when you freeze the water molecules, they actually come out very symmetrically, very beautifully, in a very gorgeous manner that is radiant and completely kind of what we would expect a snowflake to look like if you folded a piece of paper in half and then cut a design out of it and then unfold it. That would be very much so what you would see for the result of a love molecule. Then there's, the I don't care is actually very indifferent. So when you are indifferent towards something, you let it go, do what it's going to do. So the water molecule will choose one way or the other, whether to go toward positive or negative, which I will also get into later in a different video. I will try to cross-reference if I can remember. And will kind of decide what your energy is trying to express at that time and place. I do want to talk a little bit about tarot cards. Tarot cards are a reflection of our own inner self. It's never about somebody else. It's always about your own understanding or your own progress in life, in your overall incorporation of everything that you have embodied at this time. So then the water molecules that have I love you associated with them are opposite from the ones that say I hate you. So they're going to be the ones that are not symmetrical, that are completely falling apart, that may have a very lopsided mentality, more geared towards a faulty foundation, if you will. And you can just go look at the video. I'm probably not explaining it that eloquently, but that is definitely something to consider when you consider the human body and the way that our bodies are made up 80% basically of water. And then the rest of us is made up of actual solid matter or molecules. Also, it is notable that the Earth itself has a larger body of water associated with its actual coverage. So the majority of the Earth is covered by water, and the Earth or the land masses that we would consider to be Pangea continue to change over time. And over the course of the evolution of the Earth, that has continued to be something that has caused a lot of platonic shifts. A lot of natural disasters occur when that shift happens. And I think, it's very much when you think about the human body, kind of the same evolution. So the way the earth has continued to evolve is also the way that our bodies continue to evolve as we get older. And I just think that's notable for some people when thinking about water and the way that our intentions, our words, our actions, and our overall, carbon footprint, if you will, is going to carry forth a legacy. So I think that's something to kind of it's a little bit phenomenal to me to think about, to be honest. But then there's aquatic submersion. So I think that there's a specific mindset about this that I'd like to share with you guys. When you think about like water animals or animals that live primarily in water that cannot breathe air, there are actually more of them that we have not discovered and that we've discovered, both combined, than there are on land. So I know that people are very concerned about the rainforest and the way that we've continued to consume the rainforest and cut down lumber and kind of the way that watershed works, etc., etc. However, when you think about the majority of land being dedicated to water and being covered by water, you can look at deserts. They used to be the floor of the sea, of the ocean. When we're in utero, then we actually exist in an amniotic sac of fluid, of water. And we go from that to being born through our mothers into our existence here on Earth. And so we started off as water-based life, and we end up being earth-based life. And it's something that kind of grounds us as humans to have that mutual experience. There are obviously other mammals that also have that experience, but it is notable, and I will come back to that again later in a different video. But I just think it's phenomenal that we've never actually found the bottom of the ocean. What we have found at the bottom of the ocean is quite unique. There are vents that actually are so hot or cold, I guess, that they're hot, and so hot that they're cold, if you will. And I don't know if you guys have ever taken a piece of meat out of the refrigerator, but it's like having freezer burn, or when you put your fingers underneath a really, really hot stream of water, it almost feels cold for a second before you realize that you're being scalded. So I think the temperature of water is something that is a very fluid experience. And so you can have a solid, which is ice. You can have a fluid, which is obviously, flowing water, or a stream, a delta, a river, etc. Or you can also have a steam, or a mist, or a vapor state of being for water. It's got three different permutations associated with it that we are alchemically able to replicate on a day-to-day basis. And that's something that a lot of water signs should really consider. If you are a water sign by chance, or if you have water sign in your chart at any place, or um, time in your chart, in any house, it's definitely going to be pertinent to you that precipitation, so rain coming down from the clouds, is caused by a congealing, or a coming together of molecules. And the clear skies are actually based off of a colder disposition. So when there's clear skies and you can see all the stars out there, it's typically a cooler, crisper night up top, whether you're wearing a sweatshirt or not. And now when it's cloudy outside, or when it's actually raining, that does actually imply that there's been a coming together of molecules, and they're now falling to the ground. And I just think that's such a miraculous concept to think about when we're thinking about pregnancy and the way that human life got here. I did read a book once, and I'm not sure what it's called exactly. You can look it up for yourself. I'm going to just keep saying that. You can look it up for yourself, because I encourage you to go ahead and research these things on your own, just so that you can get a solid personal understanding for yourself of how things work. But comets and asteroids actually hit the Earth and brought water to our existence. So although we are the third rock from the sun, and the third planet away from the sun, we were initially just a hurtling rock that maybe collided with another rock and started tumbling around itself. So that's a whole lot of rocks tumbling. Okay. Then there was sort of a cooking of us as an evolutionary amoeba. And that cooking started when Earth was introduced to water. So when the ice or the ice remnants that were left on comets or asteroids came down and collided with us, it melted. And based off of what was in that water already, we went through ice ages, we went through Jurassic periods, we went through a whole series of heating and cooling, and that is what cooking is you don't want a cake to sink in by opening the oven too early and introducing the cold air a little bit too much to whatever mixture you've got in there. But it is what we've done as well. So we went from being aquatic life to then becoming a more like a salamander, or a tadpole to salamander, to lizard, and then on from there. Or perhaps something more like if you watch Robin Williams' documentary on dolphins, he does talk about how whales and cows are actually associated with each other, which is fascinating to me. I find it riveting, and I would encourage you guys to go take a look at it yourself. But definitely worthwhile in terms of water and the way that it's influenced our existence. There's a definite defense mechanism associated with water. It knows how to defend itself very well, very well. A lot of Pisces, Cancers, and Scorpios are very intuitive. They have the ability to dive deeply into themselves and to come out of the depths with a profound knowledge or a profound understanding of what they've been through. And I think that's something that emotionally speaks to our ability to self reflect or go back in time. So I don't know what your earliest memory may have been, but the way that a memory is imprinted in your brain is the extreme presence of emotion, whether good or bad. So just like we just said with Dr. Emoto's water experiment, you can have positive intentions, words, and emotions associated with a certain water source or negative ones. That is largely the way that we create memories of our own. So I think water signs are very intuitive because of that and are able to easily transverse where the rest of us may have a harder time getting in touch with some of the deeper aspects of our own psyche and our own synaptic gaps. Our brain is made of a watery gray substance. When you have a lightning storm up in the heavens, if you will, or whatever, the universe, whatever you call the ethers, right? You've got a collaboration or a conundrum of movement that is a electrical combined with a matter base. So water is matter, it's H2O. And that's what really fathers us as a species of humans and people. Everything really comes back to the basics. So when you think about water, I just want you to understand that the effect of temperature and precipitation, runoff, irrigation, and this idea of being a medium that life can spring from. When we're looking out into the universe for other inhabitable life forms or other inhabitable planets, what we're looking for are planets that have water, whether frozen, whether fluid, or whether vaporous. I mean, if there's not a place for us to land, it's kind of hard. I mean, if we don't have an actual land source. So earth signs, there you go. Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, just so you know. But I am just saying the capability of life to exist really has a lot to do with the inability or we're not able to walk away from water. If water is not there, if emotion is not there, if your intention is not there to create something feasible, tangible, substance, then there's no way that you can actually make that contact. So I just want to go ahead and reiterate that again. Coming back down to a more realistic view of things, there's such thing as glaciers. There are deltas, there are streams, there are rivers. And there's also steam that comes from natural springs of water that are highly heated, come from mountains that trickle down. And life forms, all life forms that we know of, whether you be aquatic, aviators, people like, the sky people is what I call them, or birds, mammals, insects, any kind of life form that you can think of needs water. It needs to come back to a water source in order to continue its life cycle. And even, turn this off if you're not 18. But, even human women can bleed for 7 days without dying. But if we didn't have water, we would never be able to refill ourselves, rejuvenate ourselves, revamp ourselves with any kind of fluid substance. And I just, when thinking about the brain, when thinking about your veins, your capillaries, your any part of your body. You can look at an example is beef jerky, a dehydrated piece of meat. What you've done is remove the water from it so that it becomes a flattened, inanimate object. So they're able to reanimate things like the mammoth that we found frozen in the glacier by injecting water slowly into it. And that reanimates the flesh. It reallows. I'm just made that up. Reallow. I just made that up. Literally, don't quote me on that. Allows life to become another possibility. So I think water has become one of the things that we take for granted. Most of the continents on this earth have a certain amount of fresh water and a certain amount of salt water. Saline solution, or the sodium Na, which is salt, actually exists in some bodies of water naturally, where it does not exist in other bodies of water. So glaciers that are frozen have a very fresh water source. Same thing with springs. By the process of filtering the elements and pulling out all of the silt from the water on the way through, as it pushes up through the earth, a lot of natural springs are able to come up and have either sulfuric kind of nature or freshwater nature. And I think that's very much indicative of our nature as humans. I don't know if you guys have read The Prince, but he talks largely about the two-pronged nature of our tongue, or our being, our whether you're positive or negative, whether you're a good person or a bad person, and whether or not you agree with the Prince or not. There is something to be said about the three states of being and the one that you choose to remain in. So I think each of us has that potential, and water has the potential to bring life. So that's my main focus, and that's all I really have to say about that today. That's all I have to say about that. Yeah, I was going to let you guys kind of do your own research about it, but like I said before, if this is something that does pique your interest, I would love you to look at that Dr. Emoto's water experiment. He's a Japanese scientist that has done extensive research on the nature of water, especially the way that it reacts to vibrational frequencies, which are obviously what we're doing when we're speaking. So anyway, I do want to get some clarifiers for you guys since it's the end of the read. We got the Eight of Cups in reverse, the Emperor upright, and then also the Five of Wands, which is defense. So we're gonna we'll just do 3 clarifiers, 1 for each. That's about enough of that. So I got the King of Pentacles in reverse, which is an earth sign, and also the most plentiful king in the deck. He's got a lot of moolah. And pentacles in the tarot can oftentimes just mean wealth of thought, of heart, of money, of everything. Okay, so this is what I've got. 8 of Pentacles in the reverse, and then I've also got the King of Pentacles in the reverse. So there may be an earth sign, or the earth, let's just use the earth as an example, cannot exist. It can't walk away. The earth itself, the tumbling rock, the third rock from the sun, cannot exist without water. Okay? It's no secret. That's just what we look for. It's just the reality of the situation. When you're going to father somebody, or when you're going to be a father figure to somebody, you must offer them choices of emotion. You've got to say, hey, I'll be there through the thick and the thin, through the good and the bad. Or, you know how fathers come about, a twinkle in your eye, and a little bit of spritz here and there. So this could be a lot of spritz, like spermatozoid fan, comes through water and is received by water. When I think about cups in the tarot, I oftentimes think about the uterus. It's a cup. It holds water. It's ready to receive energy. It's ready to manifest something. It is a waiting vessel that all women have. And in order for a father to become a father, we've not quite figured out yet how to make that happen without a woman or without a water vessel being available for that thought process to manifest itself as a baby or as a child. There's also going to be, obviously the defense of water is not a judgment. So some people, places, things, maybe some planets may have water, but it's not enough water to sustain life. Maybe a frozen planet may not be able to sustain life because the atmosphere itself is not conducive for us to live there. Okay, there's no judgment about that. But there is actually a necessity that in order for life to be feasible or continue, there must be some type of ability to either create fluidity or fluidity present, or some type of way to condense the vapor or the steam or the the I don't know what word I'm looking for here. For some reason, I'm hearing viscous. I think that's actually, the viscous is actually like the way that a water seals itself in. But I'm just saying that there may be, whatever form the water decides to take on a planet, in a person's heart, there may be a viscous, like a limit. There is no limit on that, which is defendable because you can change through alchemy, through science, through chemistry, biology, etc. You're able to change these things to become something much larger than what it may appear to be. And I'm saying that as impetus for you guys to challenge yourself when you're not feeling very forgiving, when you're not feeling very understanding, when you're not feeling very patient about certain things. That's an emotion, and your emotions are represented as water in the tarot cards. So I would challenge you to look at yourself in the mirror, to take a moment. And I mean, this is really hard for me too. I'm not at all do as I say, not as I do. But it's a important aspect of being able to manifest. A lot of artists really hate the art that they make at first, and then they end up really loving the overall outcome or the overall finished product of all of it together. And that viscosity or that ability to come together and bond in a way that's going to hold things down is really important in life. It's even when feeling emotions, it's important to acknowledge when you're angry. It's important to acknowledge when you're happy. It's a lot of people pray when they're upset, and that's the only time that they pray. You should also thank God, or thank the universe, or thank whatever entity that you believe in times of happiness and joy and bliss. You should also let the tears fall then. I know that there was a adorable video that I saw once of a woman who was talking about a sloth. I forgot her name, but I'll try to mention it in a different video. But she just said, like, if I'm anywhere between a 3 and a 7 on the emotional scale, I'm fine. But if I'm anywhere from a 1 to a 3 or a 7 to a 10, I am in tears. And it's because of, you can cry from pain and anger and frustration, or you can cry from tears of joy. And I think that that's so relevant when thinking about the 3 states of water. It just beautifully explains the 3 states of being that are constantly twisting and turning in our lives, and really create a tangible experience for each of us in different ways. And I think that that's basically what I was trying to say. I hope you guys have a good evening. I will be back relatively soon. I'm gonna try to do these at least, as often as I can. I'm not even gonna make any promises because who even knows. But I've very much enjoyed doing these videos for you guys, and I hope that I can continue to do so. Anyway, have a wonderful evening, and I will catch up with y'all as soon as I mustardly can. Have faith. Be well. That was so cheesy. Bye.